It is my honor to have the Consul General of Malaysia today, Mr. Devrin Jeck, to do a one-on-one interview for our MIFNA members. Thank you, Mr. Jeck, for agreeing for this interview. And I guess we'll get right to it. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you into a career of diplomacy?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Such a pleasure. This is such a different time that we are going through right now, and this is a very interesting ways of having this interview as well. Well, talking about myself, well, I came from a rather medium-sized family. I am the first one. I come from Bintulu, Sarawak. I'm Iban. It's one of the ethnic groups in Sarawak. In terms of my academic background, I studied information technology before at Birmingham City University. And after that, I did a little bit of studies in terms of diplomatic, when I was joining the service. Yeah. So basically why I decided to join diplomacy is because I've always been interested in international relations. And within the context of Malaysian public service, we come through foreign ministry by way of pegawai tambah dan diplomatic. So I submitted my application, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to join the service. Right, thanks.
What led to your appointment as the Consul General in Los Angeles? And if you have any past experience, if any, maybe you can list that up for us.
Well, for us in Malaysia, the decision for postings is usually done by the ministry. So they make that decision. They will tell us where they want to send us. So we follow that. So prior to LA, I was posted in Helsinki in Finland. That was from August 2013 until December 2017, I think. And then prior to that, I was also in Harare, Zimbabwe. I was there for about 4.5 years, and it was a very interesting post. Then I was also a long-term delegate to the UN that was in New York in September to December 2006. And I also attended a 9-month training program in Oxford University. It's called Oxford University Foreign Service program. That was in September 2009.
Could you briefly describe your role that you play as the Consul General in Los Angeles?
Well, basically, what we have to do is very similar to what ambassadors are doing also. It's just that our position is very centralized. Like I am covering about 18 states, including US territories. So it's mostly my areas of coverage is within the western part of the US. So what we do, especially in my position, is to advance our Malaysia's interests, to promote trade, investment, and tourism. And I'm very fortunate I'm also being assisted by my colleagues, Maida in San Jose, Matrade here in LA, and also Tourism Malaysia. So what we do is what we try to encourage more trade and investment between Malaysia and these 18 states. So other than that, we also look after the welfare of the Malaysians that lives under our purview here. Since we are here in LA, we are very, very close to those who are based here in LA. And other than that, I think thirdly, I would say that is to promote and encourage more Malaysians to register with us. I think it's very important for us to have the contact details, how we can connect with Malaysians so that we'll be able to reach out to them when we have emergencies, and also when we want to extend invitation during celebrations and receptions. I think the current situation we are right now, COVID-19, this is a very important time where we can have access to Malaysians. For example, when somebody in Malaysia, they couldn't contact their children or their family members, they usually go to us. So when we don't have that information, it's going to be a problematic. It's going to be a problem for us to try to locate them. And I think it's one of the things that Malaysians are very terrified of is that they are too afraid to register with us, thinking that we are going to spy on them. We don't have that resources, and that's not the intention of us doing so. And registration in for Malaysians living overseas, it is also a requirement. If you look at your passport, you will see it there, that Malaysians are encouraged to register with Malaysian missions overseas. And I've mentioned this already. So that is to establish contacts with local entrepreneurs, leaders, captains of industry in the western part of the US. This is basically to promote our trade, our investment, and tourism as well.
And what do you hope to achieve during your term as appointment, during your term of appointment here?
When I found out I was coming to LA, one of the things that I want to do is to be a lot closer to Malaysians. I want to give an image that we diplomats are friendly, that we are accessible. We're not that high and mighty people. So this is what I want to do. So I want to establish a closer rapport with Malaysians living here in LA, as well as California. And if we have the budget, is to establish more connections with Malaysians living in other parts of the US as well. Also, I'm looking at the possibility of, bridging the gap with various communities, Malaysian communities here in LS, because you have different groups of people. So I want to be the one that's bringing everybody close together. And I noticed this since my arrival here, that the National Day celebration that we do, the dinner that we had, has been done together with MIFNA and also Malaysian Association of Southern California, MSC. So that's a very good progress that I can see. So yeah, so that's basically my what I was trying to achieve during my time here.
What role do you see MIFNA plays within the Malaysian community here in Los Angeles?
I think MIFNA, I realize, has been very, very active. As you are aware, that I'm very close to MIFNA members and everybody else. So it's a good opportunity to be the platform, to be the bridge between consulate and the rest of the Malaysian communities here, because MIFNA can help to assist Malaysians and friends of Malaysia that are in need, for example. And that's one of the things that MIFNA is doing that I'm very aware of. So, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes Malaysians are very reluctant to approach the consulate. So, MIFNA being a non-government organization, you guys provide a very good role to provide assistance and assurance wherever possible. I think one of the things that we discussed during our time as we prepare for the COVID-19, what we did was working together how MIFNA can assist Malaysians or friends of Malaysia whenever they are in trouble during this crisis. Other than that, I see MIFNA, because most of the members are professional. So I think you have the advantage of breaking the misconception about Islam, especially here through your networks and connections with communities from other faiths, especially here in LA. So yeah, so that's basically how I see it.
Your advice on Malaysians or any transplant living in a foreign country?
I think for Malaysians who are going to move to another country, I think it's very important that they know our cooking, because people love food. And any Malaysian that is going out, you are sort of the cultural ambassador. You are the food ambassador of our country for the Malaysians. So I think through that, you'll be able to establish contacts with the local people, so you be able to immerse and understand the local cultures also while staying true to your own culture. So that's the one that I want to see, Malaysians who are moving overseas. So for those, when you live overseas also, it's very important that you look after Malaysia's good name, the image as well. So those are the things that I expect. And of course, once again, I would like to mention, it is very important that Malaysians that live overseas to establish contacts with missions, because like what I said just now, is to for us to extend assistance in the event the unit are in trouble, and also whenever that we have celebrations such as National Day, Raya, or Christmas celebrations, then we can extend the invitation to all of you. So that's basically my advice for any Malaysians that are living overseas, even if it's for a very short period, for example. Yeah.
Well, thank you again to the Honorable Consul General of Malaysia, Mr. Devrin Jeck, for taking time out of his busy schedule to give us some insight on what he does and what he envisioned the MIFNA and its role within the Malaysian community. Thank you again, Consul General.
Thank you very much for having me. And I wish everybody to stay safe and yeah, be strong and be patient during these trying times.
Likewise, sir. Thank you so much.